Guys, I know it's been a while since I sat down in front of my camera to shoot, but I am back, and that is what is important. Today I am doing a story time, and I decided to do a story because I realized that some people just have this notion that when you're leaving your country to go and make a better life for yourself abroad, then you're going there to just shop, you're just enjoying yourself, living la vida loca, and taking pictures up and down on Instagram and oppressing us. Well, considering the fact that some of us have our expectations versus the reality we actually get to face when we get there, you never get to think that you meet some crazy ass events or incidents while you are living abroad. But today I am sharing a story time that happened to me in my little house right here in Dublin, Ireland. One Sunday morning I wake up from sleep, minding my merry African black business, walking around my house and feeling very happy with myself like a good Christian wife that I am. Saturday before that Sunday, Chris had already announced to me that his sister was coming to my house with her family. So of course I had decided on Saturday evening to run out to buy the sexiest chicken that I could find for my in-laws, being a good wife. And by the time I had come back home, I was extremely tired, so I just put it up in the fridge so that the next day I would get to marinate it. Sunday morning, 9 a.m, your girl wakes up and decides to start marinating and grilling chicken. Do not say anything. You can take the girl out of the village, but you cannot take the village out of her. Of course, by the time I had started doing that thing, Chris was giving me the side eye like, are you joking? You're about to start marinating chicken this morning and you also want to grill it? And I'm like, not saying anything, just acting like I'm not listening to what he's saying. Eventually I get to find my Sunday dress, get ready and join him, and we head on out to church, or mass as some of you may call it. When we get to mass, the service is all inspirational and uplifting, and we listen to all of the message that our pastor had for that day with our very good Christian hearts. Service ends and we decide to join the Lewis to get back home. After alighting from the Lewis, we take a walk down to my house, and while walking, a white car drove past. And if you know what husband and wives do, they listen to their rant. So Chris starts to rant about how he misses his white car that was vandalized some months before, right here still in Dublin. But I couldn't even concentrate because all I could think about was how to get back home to just demolish my plate of rice and chicken. Eventually we get to the door. He opens the first door that leads into the apartment. Once you climb up the staircase, the other flats that are right before you get to mine. So we get to our own apartment, try to open the door, but before we got into the apartment, I saw some like footsteps on my door. So I was like, there are no kids running around this apartment, so like who could have been playing and put all these shoe marks on my door? We didn't suspect anything, so he tried to open the door and then the door just lets in. That was the point where my head just went ding 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 ding. We get into the house, walk straight into the room, and all the lights are on. At that point I knew this was not me at all. Once we got into the house, Chris just went, do not touch anything, because of fingerprints and the kind of things that you get to see in CSI movies, of course. So I just noticed like all my bits and bobs are all over the house, and at that point I'm like, what exactly was people looking for? Your girl starts to panic, and of course he's like, okay, pick up pen and paper and start to write whatever you can notice that is missing. Just make an inventory of all the things you can see that are not present in this house. I run into the living room because I remember that I had some cash on my couch and my iPad, and he was also working on a project that he had on his laptop in the living room before we went to church. I usually go out with my camera, so I knew that that one was in my bag, luckily. So by the time I had gone into the parlor, all the devices were gone, the money was gone on the couch. So at that point I started to open some drawers to see like where I kept my wedding ring. It was gone. There's a wristwatch I bought for him that was his wedding gift that I just noticed that day. It was gone too, and I hope that whoever took that wristwatch, it will get to tell you when Jesus Christ is coming, because you need that in your life. 4,000 naira notes that was also in my locker was gone. I don't think they realized what the value of 4,000 naira was. They just saw a box sum of money and thought, we have landed a big one. And then Chris starts to call the cops or call the guards and my landlord. They eventually arrive at the house some minutes later. My landlord came with the carpenter anyway, so of course to try to change the locks in the house. At that point we decided to look out for my neighbors and ask, like, sorry, did you guys hear anything strange, somebody breaking into our house or anything. Well, you know how it is here, everybody minds their business, nobody knows what is happening around. So the cops were trying to get as much statement as they could, and once they were done, I ran downstairs to a cyber cafe that is somewhere around my neighborhood to try to at least use those I think it's the Apple thing, the Apple app that allows you to lock all your devices, so that even if somebody tries to steal them and break into them, they don't know your password and all of that kind of thing, if you guys understand what I'm trying to talk about. My sister-in-law came around after hearing what had happened when we called her with her family. They came around, but they couldn't come upstairs, so she just stayed downstairs with my husband. And while we're talking, she was like, "She just hold hands with your husband and pray about what you want God to do for you." I was so agitated. I didn't even want to pray. I didn't even want to eat. All I just wanted to do was worry. worry. Fast forward to nighttime. At about 8 p.m. we called the cops and we're like, "Please, can we go back into our house to at least take a shower and clean up for the day and just get ready to sleep?" Because the next day we're going to work. And they were like, "Oh, you can go upstairs now. We're still on the investigation. Just go and relax." So of course we went back into our house to just try to relax after the craziness that we had experienced that day. Once it was time to sleep, we had taken a shower and then we were ready to sleep. We get into bed, hold our hands, and just say a short prayer. After we had just said the short prayer, some minutes later, Chris's phone rings and it was the guards. They called him to say that they were right downstairs in front of the main door. So he goes down to open the door while I'm just in the room waiting to hear good news with all of my antennas standing. Once they come upstairs, they are right in my house with a black polythene bag. They had some items right inside that polythene bag, and they asked us to try to identify if the things inside were ours. There was my iPad, his laptop, and the 4,000 naira, which I'm sure they realized was such a bad market for them. That was all they could recover for us. They never found my ring, they never found the wristwatch. The laptop, by the time they came back, that was the most important thing to us because he had like major work right inside it. But by the time we opened it and checked, they have formatted the entire information inside. They were probably like in the pawn shop trying to sell it off. So I tried to gather information from the guards to see if I could ask them, like, how did they find these people in such a very short time, less than 24 hours? They're able to come back to us with all of these stolen items. Like, how does that happen? And they were like, "Don't worry, it's just classified information. We're still trying to work on it to try to recover the remaining items that were lost." Up until today, we haven't heard from them about. They sent us a letter anyway talking about they're still on their investigation, but up until today they still haven't sent us any information about if they were able to recover anything else. But first of all, I'm just glad that at least they were able to recover whatever it is that they could, and secondly, I'm just glad that God protected us by keeping us away from the house while all of the craziness was happening, because I don't know what would have happened if one of us had bumped into these people while they were in the house. I mean, like, that would have been a totally different story. But this is what had happened, and I thought I should just share with you guys, because I know some people can have some crazy notions about what life can be like here. And even when it happened and I called my mom, of course I had to call my mother, my mom was like, does that type of thing happen there too? Alright guys, so that is it for my story time today, served on a hot plate of pepper soup. I hope you got to enjoy this one because it took me some time to actually try to remember what had happened. And if you live in the city of Dublin and you live in Ireland and you have any crazy stories about what has happened to you, or if you live abroad outside your country and you have any stories, please leave that in my comment section. I'll be so glad to have a conversation with you guys. And of course, make sure you like the video and you subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.